Have you ever found yourself in a group conversation where everyone seems to know exactly what to say? Except you? The dialogue flows effortlessly between them. Jokes, opinions, stories. While you stand there, stuck in your head, scrambling for something, anything to contribute. Your brain, once full of thoughts, suddenly goes blank. And all you manage is a nervous smile or an awkward, yeah. If you're introverted, you've probably lived this more times than you care to admit. And maybe, over the years, you've started to believe that this is just the way you are. That being quiet is your default. That you simply weren't born to be a good communicator. That charisma is a gift reserved for the loudest voice in the room. But here's the brutally honest truth. That's a lie. There is a hidden skill, a kind of mental switch, that confident introverts use in silence. And the best part? It doesn't require you to change who you are. You don't need to become the center of attention. You don't need to force small talk or fake enthusiasm. In fact, you can remain exactly as you are and still speak with confidence in any situation. In today's video, you're going to discover that skill. And once you learn how it works, you'll never feel stuck in a conversation again. It doesn't matter if it's a job interview, a date, a group of new people, or just casual talk with friends. By the end of this video, you'll have the key to unlocking effortless, authentic communication without pretending to be someone else. Let's get something clear. Being introverted doesn't mean you're shy. It doesn't mean you're socially broken or weak. It just means your mind processes the world differently. While extroverts talk in order to figure out what they think, introverts think in order to figure out what to say. And while that may look like a disadvantage in fast-paced conversations, it's actually a massive strength if you learn how to use it. The real problem isn't that you have nothing to say. The real problem is that you filter too much before speaking. Introverts are like ruthless internal editors. They delete 90% of what they want to say before it ever reaches their lips. Why? Because they're constantly judging themselves. Will this sound stupid? Will they think I'm boring? Is this even relevant? And so the silence grows. One missed moment becomes 5. You leave the room replaying all the things you could have said. That self-censorship, repeated over and over again, erodes your self-esteem. You start believing that your thoughts don't matter, that your voice isn't worth hearing. But what if I told you that you could flip this entire dynamic without memorizing scripts, without forcing fake confidence, just by shifting one thing inside your mind? That shift is what I call the inner bridge, and it's the secret confident introverts use to never run out of things to say. Here's how it works. Anytime someone says something, anything at all, you pause for a moment and ask yourself a simple question. What does this connect to inside me? It could be a memory, a feeling, a belief, a story, a weird thought. Once you find that internal connection, that becomes your doorway into the conversation. You're not inventing, you're not performing. You're simply bridging what they said to something you already know, feel, or believe. Let's say someone says they're stressed at work. You take 2 seconds to connect that to your own experience, and you reply, I totally get that. There was a week where I had so much going on, I literally turned off my phone for 2 days just to survive. Boom. Now you're in. Or someone mentions a movie. Instead of saying, cool, you pause and say, there's one scene in that movie that hit me way harder than I expected. Now it's personal. It's emotional. It's real. And people remember that. That's what the inner bridge does. It pulls you out of your overthinking and grounds you in something true. It gives you instant material to work with in any conversation, without sounding rehearsed or robotic. Let's bring this to real life. Picture this. You're in a job interview. The recruiter asks how you handle pressure. Instead of rattling off generic buzzwords, you take a breath and search for the bridge. You remember a moment when a deadline crushed your week, but you pushed through by organizing your time down to the minute. You tell that story. Now they're listening, or you're on a date. The other person says they love to travel. Your brain freezes. What do I say now? But then you remember a time you got lost in a foreign city where no one spoke your language. You laugh about how you survived off hand gestures and smiles. Suddenly the conversation is alive. It's unique. It's yours. Or it's just a casual chat. Someone jokes about how expensive coffee has become. You pause, remember the worst coffee you ever bought for way too much money, and share that story. The room laughs. Not because you're trying to be funny, but because your story is real. That's the power of the inner bridge. It doesn't turn you into someone else. It turns you into someone present. You stop reaching for cleverness and start reaching for connection. And that's what people crave. someone who feels real when they speak. But like any skill, building your inner bridge takes practice. That's where these 3 micro habits come in. They're simple but powerful. First, practice connecting on your own. Whenever you watch a video, read an article, or hear a story, pause and ask, what does this remind me of? Train your brain to link what you see to what you've lived. Second, embrace the pause. In real conversations, don't rush to fill silence. That 2 to 5 second pause after someone speaks is your secret weapon. It gives your brain space to find the bridge, and it signals calm confidence. People trust those who are comfortable with silence. Third, build a personal vault. Write down 5 short personal stories. Funny, awkward, emotional, anything. These become emotional reference points you can use again and again. Whenever someone says something remotely related, you have a bridge ready to go. Over time, your brain will stop panicking in conversations and start scanning for connection points. That's when everything changes. You'll realize you were never bad at conversations. You just didn't have the right mental process. So here's the truth. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to dominate the room. You don't even need to talk more. You just need to connect better. People remember those who make them feel something, not those who say the most. The inner bridge isn't about performing. It's about unlocking what's already inside you. You've spent your whole life listening deeply, observing, feeling. That's your superpower. Now it's time to speak from it. So the next time you feel stuck, don't freeze, don't panic. Pause. Ask yourself, what does this connect to inside me? Then speak from there. If this video resonated with you, share it with another introvert who needs to hear it. And if you want more tools like this, hit subscribe. This channel is about helping you say less, but mean more.